Record. So we all are recording, that's great. Okay, so my name is Joy Rice. I am a Senior Associate Director in the Center for Global Education. I appreciate you all taking such time out of your busy schedule and such like another summer day that we have today. And so today we're gonna learn more about Sights and Sounds of South Africa. We are gonna learn more about what the program entails. We're gonna hear from your program directors. And we're gonna also talk through what the online paper looks like for our partners school for Stellenbosch University and AIFS. But then also, you've already been great and done part 1 of visa paperwork for this program. But I am gonna say, you guys hit, I don't know, lottery jackpot of one of the most intensive visa processes that we have here at St. Ben St. John. So if you talk to some of your friends, especially if they are going to Cork, Ireland, they're on the other end of the spectrum. They get their passport and they just have to do one part abroad, where you will do much more than that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm excited for you all to learn more about the program today. At 5:30 is when the alums will come in. So before that is really when we'll hear from your director and assistant director, and we'll do some program paperwork on those pieces. So that's kind of really an overview of what we're kind of doing today to get through there. And then once we also cut off, because I know you guys met once last spring, hopefully there will be some time for you guys to do a little bit of get to know you some more after we pause for the Zoom here. All right, so without further ado, I will turn it over to Matt and Teresa to kind of share a little bit why they're excited for this journey.
Thanks, Joy. I've met all of you a couple times now, but since this is being recorded for your parents, so we'll be a little bit repetitive. We'll just talk about ourselves. We're both CSBS-JU grads, if you remember back in the, I think it was the first World Development Ministry, no, not quite that long, but you know, a while ago. I was study abroad along myself, Salzburg 1980. More relevant to you, this will be the 3rd program that we've directed. We directed 2016 Salzburg Australia program, and then 2 years ago back in Greece, as I'm sure many of you remember. I had wanted to go to Africa since I was younger than you are, and still haven't gotten there yet. I'm really, really excited. I mean, excited is not quite the best word, but it's the best I can do right now. I believe it's coming soon, right? I'm hoping that you're feeling that too, now that we're back on campus. You're doing what you need to do to go there. Teresa, I'll just tell you, we've had a very lively week. Our older daughter, who was due to have a baby this Tuesday, had one on Monday evening. Yes, Ellie Rose, our first grandchild, was born.
Yay!
Everyone came on the way. I'll show you some pictures. But it's been lively. Our daughter's just got out of the hospital today for a variety of reasons. Everything's good. It's been studying abroad is one of those seminal moments in a person's life. Having your first grandchild born is also one of those seminal moments. So for little, but it's super, super exciting. Teresa, you want us to say anything? She wasn't.
Do I have to? I'm a nurse. I graduated from St. Ben's with a nursing degree and have been a nurse since I graduated. Current job is at Hennepin Healthcare, downtown Minneapolis. I work in the operating room. I've worked there for 30 years. No, not 30 years, 23 years. But did other nursing before that.
Yeah, and Teresa will trumpet her horn, so I'll have to do that a little bit, especially for all of you and for your parents who, you know, you're adults, but you're also somewhat entrusting your kind of well-being, your experience to us. While we're there, we'll be the point person. You're extremely lucky to have Teresa with us.
Yeah, I'll go to your doctor's appointments, if you have doctor's appointments, or if you want me to, or
Well,
help me out with whatever.
when I talk about Teresa, I say, and you might remember this from last spring, she's the type of person that if you find yourself 50 yards from a grizzly bear with two tiny little cubs in the middle of Alaska, you want her next to you, because I have felt that, I've had that exact experience, and she's pretty unflappable, I would say, and is really good at, on a regular basis, sees things that happen to people that they've done to each other or done to other people that most of us don't ever even imagine. And knows, how to deal with that. So in terms of things that might come up, who knows what might come up when we're abroad. She's gonna be a terrific resource for me, for you, and for your loved ones who are kind of worried about you when you're literally on the other side.
Outside of the room.
The other side of the world. Yeah, and I can say, the other thing I want to say, a couple things. The two books that I'm gonna ask you to, I think the one book, Beyond Guilt Trips, by Anu Tarrant, Dr. Anu Tarrant, is available online, I believe it is, it was, it is, okay, good. The other book that I've talked about it last spring, I want to talk about it again while we're being recorded, is the Trevor Noah's Born in Crime. We're gonna read that. I highly recommend your parents read it too. I really think it will give them a sense of where you're gonna be for the spring semester. It's an extraordinarily compelling, very easy to read book. It's just, whatever you think about Trevor Noah, I thought he was a pretty talented person. You read this and your opinion of him will be boosted 10, 100, 1,000 times. 11 unbelievable that in this, starting in this place, so you're gonna be for 4 months and have a lifelong connection to it. So you can get that book sooner rather than later. Your parents can read it. It's a book that you could read. A good reader can read that book in a day. It's really very easy to read. Doesn't mean there's not a lot there. Yeah, other than that, I think, we're planning after in the Q&A, we want to have 2 more group get-togethers, one dinner, either, over at St. Ben's or here at St. Ben's or over at St. John's, we decide that. And the other, a challenge course activity that we can all kind of do to keep the team on. I like the challenge course. So we'll talk about good possible times to do that at the end. And I just want to say, for your parents' sake, again, any parents that are seeing this, pat yourselves on the back. Because as you know, I've been teaching you for 25 years. In addition to the 7-figure salary that Joy and I get, working with 20-something-year-olds like all of you is just a great thing. Most of my classmates from St. Ben's and St. John's have retired now, right? I mean, that's old, I am. But they don't have the opportunity like we have had to be in Austria, taking a train from Salzburg to Saarbrücken and have 3 different people come up to you and say, "This is the most beautiful place I've ever been. Thank you for bringing us here." Or to go to Greece like 2 years ago, we did, on a Saturday afternoon, to look at the helmet that was presented to the Temple of Zeus after the Battle of Marathon. And then to go back to Athens the next day and participate in that marathon with our students and be in, that's just, but all of our students there is just. So that said, we've had extraordinarily great experiences with study abroad students so far. But ask anyone who I know, this group, was not nearly as excited after interviewing the Salzburg and the Athens group as I am, after spending a little bit of time that I spent with you. So your parents should really pat themselves on the back because they've done a good job. The bar is high though, okay? So just let me know.
No pressure.
But I'm old enough now, I like to fish, but it's almost more fun for me to watch my nephew catch a fish than it is for me to catch a fish anymore. So I'm excited to go to South Africa, but I'm really excited to go there with all of you. So there you have it. I think that's all I wanted to.
And I do want to say, he came home from interviewing you guys and he was so pumped up. He said, the first couple of interviews, I thought they were great. And they just kept getting better and better and better, so.
I can't remember the order, just in case.
No, but yeah, not better and better, but it's just like he was just so impressed with every single person he interviewed.
Because it makes a big difference, right? Not every study abroad experience is the same, and not every study abroad experience is the same for the faculty directors. And we're 2 for 2, and I'm really, really optimistic that we'll be 3 for 3, so. Really looking forward to it. I think that's good enough for us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
We'll talk more.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, yeah, and you guys are in great hands with Matt and Teresa. I'm excited for you to be on this journey with them, to really enjoy the journey and, take part in the learning together. The highs, there will be lows as well, and but also talk about those, right? And with any low, there's only up from there, and I'm excited to see you guys on the other side. I would say my favorite part of being in this role, now 16 years, has been kind of this part, seeing you guys excited, anxious, all of the above, and then to the other side, when I see, about a week and a half ago, we had our welcome back dinner, and see the excitement and just that confidence, and seeing that you guys have really put forth this great goal, accomplished it, and really seeing those skills in action. So that's truly, I'm excited for you all on that piece. So moving forward, you got this in email, but I just did wanna kind of share that you guys are set to go if you do wanna start looking at flights. The first day that you can move into your accommodations would be January 31st. So that means if you are leaving from Minneapolis, you would look for flights leaving on January 30th, and you would arrive late January 31st. You can also arrive on September, haha, it is September right now. Saturday, February 1st as well, so those, you have 2 days to go in. And no matter when your flight is, there will be like groupings, and there will be people with signs for airport transfers for you to get from Cape Town Airport to ultimately your accommodations at Stellenbosch University. It's about a 40-minute drive. And so that's the biggest thing. If you do arrive before that, unfortunately, housing will not be available. And so that's just something to keep in mind. And then you do have basically a full week of orientation. You'll get that a little bit of what orientation looks like, probably in mid-January. And then you have a week, and then you have classes begin. The one part that is new since I sent the letter is we did confirm when is the midterm break and when is the required garden route excursion, which we'll talk about today. So there is gonna be a break Saturday, March 29th, all the way through the 6th. But the first part of that break is when you guys will all go as a group to a 5-day excursion, 4 nights. And the alums will share more about what that looks like. And then the second half, if you do want to do some independent travel, that is when you would do that before classes resume on the 7th. And then you go through exams. The one thing to note again with flights would be, I had some students that had exams on that last day. Unlike here, there's no changing exams. There's no talking to a professor saying, but I have that internship that starts on the 5th. That isn't the system that works there. Unfortunately, you'll get your exam schedule sometime in March or April. You won't even know when you pick classes. And then based on that, you could get lucky. I would say you can ask the alums. About 3 flew out on that last day. And then there was a scattering within the last week, just depending on, so if you are looking at flights, if you look at changeable options, that might be something to think about if you are hoping to change your flight to earlier. It's not a guarantee, but it's something to think about as you're evaluating flights. The people also who left early, they did feel bummed because they felt like they missed some of that last bonding experiences as well. So I just wanted to kind of put forth the program date. Any questions as you see that?
So Joy, would you encourage students to use like the Delta website to do that rather than Kayak or someplace like that?
Yeah,
Is it
that's a
Delta?
really good question. So I would encourage you to, you could use like Google Flights or Kayak, something to search flights. But strongly recommend you not to go through an Expedia or go through some kind of to go directly through United or Delta when you ultimately book your flights. And the reason for that is if there is any changes, you are flying out in January. If there are changes to your flight, and even if ultimately Expedia sells it to Delta, if you go like, my flight got canceled, Delta will say you have to talk to Expedia. Expedia will say you have to talk to Delta. And that's something, as you wanting to go on this journey, that's something you would want to do. So we highly recommend booking, like, search however you wanna search, but ultimately book with a mainline airline, like the website through United, Delta, American, those would be the top 3 to go through in order to. And typically with, I would say United and Delta, you could get maybe just one transfer. There's Amsterdam or Atlanta, if you're looking at the least amount of transfers as well. So be sure to research, check out like change and cancellation policies. So that's kind of the difference between like a main cabin versus kind of like the cheaper options. So just be wary of which one you connect with, and whenever it feels comfortable for you, you can go ahead and make that booking. And I will put the flight information in our global portal, and you would enter that in our global portal. And at some point, you would have to enter that with our partner university, partner called AIFS. So if you have questions on airfare, that would be a great question to also ask the alums as we kind of move forward. So lots of things to think about on this journey. So we are excited for all of that learning that you're gonna do, but we wanna make sure that you think about some of that common sense. So some of that street smarts, they are gonna give some safety tips in Stellenbosch, that kind of thing. There isn't big things to worry about, but it is like any traveling situation. It is bringing that common sense, bringing that awareness of not having your phone next to you when you're at a restaurant, keeping it on you. Things that maybe like, hey, I can leave my laptop at the library, go away, and it'll come back, it'll be there. Just being mindful of your belongings at all times. So that's thinking about those pieces. We're excited for that sense of adventure, that curiosity, but we also want that balance of street smarts in that sense. So of course, thank you all. I know you all have your passports. Those will be ready to be packed. Right now would be a good time to start talking with your doctors or any kind of medical professionals to make sure you have a full supply of medications. That is not something you can mail abroad. And so making a plan for that, sometimes that is something you have to work with insurance to get more than that 90-day supply. There is certain adapters that you need for South Africa. So Google South Africa adapters, you can either get a universal one or one special for South Africa/US. We can talk more with the alums, but either you can use your current phone and get a data plan, or some students did bring their unlocked cell phones and got a new SIM card while you're there. Both are great options, and so figuring out which one works the best for you. For ease, the data plan here is gonna be the easiest, but it's gonna be a little more expensive than doing the SIM card option, but you do need to make sure your cell phone's unlocked for that. For packing and thinking about financing, we recommend either getting a credit card. If you don't already own some kind of credit card in addition to your debit card, now is a great time to think about that. But also make sure that you get either a Visa or a MasterCard. We have found Discover or American Express do not work as well abroad. And the other thing, if you are especially applying for a new card, look for ones with 0 international transaction fees. So this is something to also talk to your bank about debit cards. So if you do plan to get cash out or do, anytime you tap your card at anywhere, the bank might do another like international transaction fee. So that's where if you had a credit card with that 0%, make sure you pay it off monthly, you can be saving money that way. And then portable chargers and good shoes. So those are key things. We have found many parts of the world consider things like pocket knives and pepper spray to be weapons. And so if you use pepper spray as a personal defense mechanism, maybe looking at whistles or other pieces that could work out for you if you feel that safety with having that pepper spray or mace. Whistles or other personal defense pieces that wouldn't be considered weapons in that sense. And just be mindful of things like marijuana here is now legal in Minnesota. That is not the case in South Africa. And even looking at your CBD drugs or things like that. Unfortunately, you know, those are things that are considered illegal in South Africa. And so being mindful as you pack those things, and it definitely is a criminal offense. And that would not be something we would want as a part of your study abroad experience. On a lighter note, for hair dryers, straighteners, if you use electric razor, around the world, there's different types of electricity, like you have to put in a different plug, the electricity is on a different voltage. And so if you have a dual voltage type hair dryer, straightener, razor, that would work while you're in South Africa. Otherwise, it is just a smart idea to buy those in and share costs with others if that's something that you need to have in that sense. So a lot of this information came through the US Department of State. We don't give you some of this information to scare you, but we want you to be mindful of the experience you're about to have. If you do have questions, feel free to set an appointment with myself or connect, you know, ask questions of myself or the alums in the Q&A. So some of this information was on the online orientation. So that was due today. So if you haven't done that quite yet, make sure you go through the different modules tonight. The one piece just to be mindful of that is on piece 4 that has happened on our study abroad programs that we want to point out that while abroad, you are not permitted to rent a car or any other kind of motorized vehicle. So that does include little scooters, motorcycles, motorbikes, those kind of things. They are one of the leading causes of injury abroad. And so that is just something, there's many ways the students can talk about all the Ubers they took while they were abroad, those kind of things. But that's just one thing I wanted to point out in regards to a policy we have at St. Edmund St. John's. So costs, this was also featured in your acceptance email. So what happens is in December, we bill you like any other semester. The tuition is exactly the same, so that will get billed to your student account. And then what goes away is gonna be your room and board cost. And in its place would be this $6,150. So this, and then all of your aid that you normally get, the only thing that doesn't follow you abroad would be your work study. So all of that is your normal bill. So this minus your aid would be the bill you pay St. Ben St. John. And then this would be the estimates for food on site, airfare, and then personal with phone in there. So this is like personal spending and those pieces. Food, you know, the more the students will tell you it is pretty inexpensive to eat out. But obviously even cheaper if you eat in. So getting things like groceries versus eating out, those are gonna be things that sway. You will get a Stellenbosch University card. There's a cafeteria there. It's not necessarily a meal plan, but you do get some starter money that you could use for meals and things like that there. So these are the things to think about for out of pocket expenses. And then these are gonna be what is sent to St. Ben St. John's and billable there. Questions on that? All right, so what I'm gonna hand out here. Here, I'm gonna get half here. And then back over here. So you guys did part 1 of your visa. Hello. And then here is going to be the next part of your visa application. So everyone, as a part of the visa, everyone everyone has to get, a medical certificate. So this medical certificate is in the back page, one of the back pages if you open up. So you will bring this plus this AIFS form to St. Ben's and St. John's, health services. You can get this off campus, but it's free on campus, so I highly suggest to do it on campus. You have to make sure that you do, it's on the instruction. You have to make sure that you, complete the online travel form. I highly suggest that you complete that this week, because it then gets reviewed by an RN, and then they call you for an appointment. So this is what you would have to bring, so, and we wanna make sure that appointment, so we're all getting everything to the deadline here by this, so you have a lot of time, but. Getting into medical appointments sometimes does take time, so. That's why this week your plan should be getting that online, starting that online portal, so they call you so you can get that appointment. You'll bring these two things, they will complete them, and then there's gonna be lots of things you will gather for your visa. So this will be something you gather for your visa, and the AIFS form is something you'll put in the online portal. Okay, so that's kind of getting that done, the online portion done this week, and so that you have that appointment by the 15th, okay? So it kind of is like a trickle down effect. You all have your passport, awesome. In that packet was also a blank visa application along with the student sample. So following that visa application, that is another thing you'll have to gather before that visa meeting. And then, so some of these things you may have to connect to with your parents about. One of them would be a original or the certified copy of your birth certificate. And then, you do have to go somewhere to get 2 passport style photos. Those have to, come with 2 there as well. So that original FBI background check today, you send them to me, I will ship them off to the FBI. And then you will get originals in the mail. You'll also get them emailed to you. And so I'll send an email in about 2 weeks when I think they'll start coming in. To remind you to check the email version, and then I will physically get your originals as well. So you're gonna gather all these things, let's go on the back side. This is where your parent, you get involved. There is one sheet in here called the financial guarantee. Your parents, one of your parents, not both, one of your parents do need to sign and get this notarized. Typically, if you live in the area, we do have a notary in our office, Jackie, so you can feel free to bring a parent and do that. Or typically any bank has a notary to get this done as well. Law offices have notaries, so this along with so come like that first week of October, they need to print out 3 of the most recent bank statements on bank letterhead. And then physically go into a bank and try to get a bank stamp. If their bank does not have a stamp, there is something you can get called like a account confirmation letter. Also on letterhead, that they confirm that they have accounts there. That would have to be signed and then attached with the bank statements if they don't have a physical bank stamp. They can't be notarized, we physically need a bank stamp or another letter to say from the bank to say these are their accounts. The other thing, also on the back, in addition to whoever is going to be your financial guarantee, they would also need to bring in their driver's license, and that needs to be notarized as well. And so these 3 things are what you do need to get from your parents. So that might take some time, so that would be something to coordinate, and these can be sent via email, and so you can send them my way, or if you have questions, feel free to send me an email for clarification, any kind of things. The next step is making ultimately that notary hire appointment. Because all those things you gathered for yourself, we will need to make some notaries of that. So if you're gonna bring your driver's license, we're gonna notarize that. You're gonna bring your actual passports, we will need your actual passport, we need to notarize that. You're gonna bring that original or your copy of your birth certificate, we're gonna make a copy of that. We're gonna notarize that and give you back that original or that copy. And then the things that, then you are also gonna bring those financial guarantees. So you have a lot of paperwork that I just threw at you, I realize that. Let me know if anything doesn't make sense, and do know, and they know from last year. At the end, I will have you all join with a WhatsApp group. So either you can email me or you can type in questions. I know last year's group found that helpful as well as you're gathering information, that kind of thing. And so none of these things are hard. You just have a lot of things to gather in a little over a month. I believe in you. I know you can do it.
They can.
Yes. And so, but any like right off the cuff questions that don't make sense right now? Cause I also threw out maybe like, this is all Visa archaic language as well, so I realized some of this language could be new to you. We're feeling okay? Not too overwhelmed? If you are going home over long weekend, this could be a good time to like do a lot of these things, yes.
Is notarizing something, just making a copy of it?
So notarizing it, so that's a really good question. So that's, so say this form. Your parent can fill out everything, except for they can't sign it. So what they're seeing is that this is like a notary is a big stamp that they notarize that this is this person in front of me and that's their real signature in front of me. And same goes like, they have seen your actual passport and they verify that that's their original passport. And so that's what a notary does, yes.
And we have to notarize all of those things and then come back with them notarized to get them.
So
notarized.
anything, the only things that I would say, you don't have to, no, that's a really good clarifying question. The only things that I would say you would bring notarized are the parent things, if they are not gonna come to the notary visa meeting. Because
Okay.
everything else that you bring, other than, so this should be notarized when you come to that meeting.
Yep.
The parent ID should be notarized, nothing else has to be notarized because we have a notary in our office. So all these things on 5 don't have to be notarized. Cause we're gonna notarize those. Everything on 3 should be notarized, that I say to notarize, so it'd only be this financial guarantee and the parent's ID. But everything on 5 does not need to be notarized, just needs to bring them physically to the appointment, so we can notarize them. Question?
The important thing, wait, so we won't have our passport from October 20th to December 20th,
You will not.
so I can't travel out of the country during then. Like if I have a trip planned in between that, I can't go.
Well, so we need to talk.
Okay.
And so we. So, cause the short answer is quickly after October 22nd, I physically go to Washington DC with your actual passports. And they will stay in DC until they get mailed back to us, typically right before Christmas. And so we can talk about options. There is such thing as a second passport that you can get. But we can, so find me in the Hive and we can talk through that option. Yes.
So my question, if we're out of state, how do we get that passport back once it gets back to school?
Yes, so the hope is, and this has happened most years, is that is back before you leave for finals. Like, and so you physically, if not, we will FedEx to your home if you have left by that point. Yep. Yes.
Can we get stuff notarized and then sent it into us? Like I'm not gonna be going home before these dates at all. So
Yes, so so the one thing. So like the certified copy, that might be something that it has to get mailed to me. But everything else, so that financial guarantee, but if they're gonna mail your birth certificate. In your passport, then they could plop in the other items like the financial guarantee, the notary, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So if you are getting, especially if your passport's getting mailed here, I would highly recommend doing like a FedEx or some kind of trackable mail. So that it does not get lost. These are all good questions. Other questions? So also, so that's Visa Land. Much easier is going to be, like you apply to our programs, you're already in the program, you're already in the AIFS program. You'll just have to do some pretty quick online information in order to get into the AIFS system. So that is due September 26th. I will give this to you in an online format, because this link is like a hyperlink, all these are hyperlinks for you. And then I also send you an email from CGE that will have your official transcript. Like this first one, honestly, you upload 3 things, it should take you no less than 5 minutes, to be honest. So part 1 is very simple. Part 2, that medical form that you had done here. Some of these pieces might take a little bit more time, and I will give you information. The biggest one that may take time, but I'll give you more information about this in October because they're not quite finalized, is the courses. So that is the course selection will be something in probably mid to late October you'll get. Maybe even early, who knows? It's all on our partner in Stellenbosch on that. But many of the courses are already, options are listed out there. And so, but it's just finalizing if they'll work with our timetable or not is what we're working on. So that is the post pieces, and then that would be mid-November for those aspects. Okay. So that is Visa Land.
Kind of like Disneyland.
It's kind of like Disneyland, but only like, this is like your ultimate ticket. You know, honestly, Disney is like this hard, like finding the lightning lanes these days and figuring out all those things. It's like the planning you need to Disney, but this, I think this reward is way better. Okay, but without further ado, we have 2 alums here. I'll let you guys introduce yourself. And then they will share sights and sounds about their time in Stellenbosch. So go ahead, the floor is yours.
I'm Jordan. Nice to meet you guys. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's
You can do whatever you need.
I'm Cindy, I'm a senior and peace studies major. Yeah, studying finance. And we were just in Stellenbosch and we're really grieving it, so it's so cool, there's so many of you guys going. But basically, yeah, so the location is Stellenbosch. It's like 45 minutes away from Cape Town, which is super awesome, because there's like so much to do in both places.
I feel like even closer, like 20 minutes is the closest beach.
Yeah,
Like if you go
yeah.
straight down, not to like the heart of the city, but
Right,
there's beach close and it's like so cheap for Uber, so.
it's super nice.
I mean, no, do you want next one or not yet?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of just around our campus. Basically Stellenbosch is kind of just like white buildings, like historic buildings all around. It was like settled by the Dutch. So it just looks really nice and pristine. We kind of thought they looked like different things. I thought it looked a little bit like Wayzata, or just like, not in like a boring way, but like it's very like, it just reminded me of it because of the little coffee shops and stuff. So if you're thinking of like Cove, there's like, there's like, they just have like cute restaurants like that everywhere, but not like, you're still gonna feel like you're in Alpha. There's like beautiful mountains all around. It just like gives a kind of vibe like that.
I said Europe.
Yeah, and then she gave Europe. I did Europe.
It's just like really bougie, like
Yeah,
cheap, but it's the richest city in South Africa, so like expect that.
yeah.
What are those buildings that?
Oh.
So this is the
That's a
like,
little Dutch church.
yeah,
I don't know what that is.
that is one of the just on campus buildings. I don't think we went into that one. But that's the one like right before you get to the mall, I think. So, yeah, they're just like, mostly like the buildings that you have class in will like kind of look.
And the middle is you guys around town, where is that one?
That is, what is
And
the,
Swami Day Winkle.
it's like a little market, and they have like little candies and stuff. We each did like little field trips for class with Ellen, so, Rachel, our Zoe, I think, brought everyone there, so. To kind of see the history of this one little shop there. And then,
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna get to know Hestia really well, she's so awesome, you're good.
Who is she?
She's like the director of AIFS there, so she works with you like on all the like excursions and stuff. But she's so fun and so outgoing, she's just like, she's such a boss woman, so you guys will love her.
You'll get emails from two people from AIFS, Kristen Cassell. CASS, so she is our US contact, and things around your online application is who you'll email for her. But once you quickly transition to Hestia, and so Hestia is like our main point contact for AIFS. So she is the one I work with to finalize courses. She will like look through the courses with you once you get on site to make sure they work. Those kind of things. She is our main person for excursions. She is the main person. You do some with obviously all international students, but then at Stellenbosch, but then we have that like another level of support with Hestia. And so she would be your, in addition to Matt and Teresa, would be your kind of Stellenbosch, like, I have a question about this course. She would be a good person that Matt could help loop you into.
Hello.
And then, just in the center, so they also have like rugby is a huge thing, in Stellenbosch, so. There's the rugby games to go to, I definitely recommend going to them. It's just a really cool environment, there's like mountains all around, it's always at like sunset, and just the stands are just packed and people are super into it there, so that was like. A really fun, event to go to on campus.
And we did like an abroad, or everyone that studied abroad from like different countries. Cooked like their home meal, but we were on South African, we like cooked a South African dish. There were like dishes from like Hong Kong.
Yeah, so this is like an international food dinner, so a group of our students made like cake Malay, which is a South African like traditional dish, so we were also like immersed into the culture in that way, which was cool, cause it's hard to like, they have South African places to eat, but a lot of it is like, there's also like sushi and like Italian, so it's kind of like cool when you get the opportunity to like dive into that part of the culture.
For classes, so you all take service learning, that's a volunteer work, you can take it for 3 or 6. I recommend taking it for 6 if you can like fit it, but if you like need classes to graduate, like some people had to do it for 3. So the 3 credit one, like you'll volunteer the whole semester, but you won't be in classroom for the second half of the semester, if that makes sense. So like you have volunteer 2 times a week and then classroom 2 times a week for this one class, if that makes sense. And then you have less assignments if you take 3 credits. And then,
Oops, sorry, do you guys know like what you're doing for service learning, like?
No,
have people
that's
explain?
future in your,
Okay.
yeah, it's all you, it's all you.
Yeah. The service learning, so basically we would go, they might have changed it, they're kind of like in the middle of like reforming, I guess, like their program for this. But it was our first year at these 3 disadvantaged schools, so they had like a little nursery like. With babies in this place, so you would kind of just help the teachers and like. You worked at that one,
called Excelsior,
yeah.
so they call it the crash, it's like preschool basically.
Yeah, and then there was like elementary to middle school, like 2 different schools I could work at, called Peniel and Nzame. And you could just like, basically there's these 2 schools and they're separated by a fence. But so there's different races in South Africa, like white, black, colored, and then like Indian. So the colored schools and the black schools have very different like resources. And so the colored school had like a whole basketball court and like beautiful greenery, and then the black school basically was just dirt and then like little like trailers for school. So our program actually helped build a playground for that school, which was a really cool like thing to talk about, a really amazing experience. So I don't know if you guys will be at these specific schools, but basically you'll be in there and you'll just help the teachers in like any way you can, and then basically just talk to the kids, which is super fun. So that's twice a week.
And then I also would recommend with the volunteering, if you have room and you're deciding to take a class, like taking a language. I didn't do that, but I kind of wish I did, cause like that could have fit it. Even to learn like simple terms, like people really respect that, you know? And, like, the
What
kids.
language would you recommend? There's
I would say,
all official languages. right?
yeah,
They primarily use Afrikaans, and then isiXhosa, which is like.
Say that again.
Usually bad, we only had one of our students like take isiXhosa, but basically that is more of like the. Like one of the tribal languages, so in the township, like Salamash is right by a township and they speak that there, and then at the schools. Some like the school, the black school spoke isiXhosa and the other one was Afrikaans, which is like the Dutch like reformed language a little bit, so. But people speak it all the time there, so it's super cool. And then, yeah, for classes, they're all really great, the ones with international students were definitely smaller. But they're very directed toward international students, so. We were like very educated on like the political life in South Africa and just culture there. And then I actually took like a class with only South Africans, a sociology class. And for that was more like very like lecture based, like people are very into their education there, so it was like. It was less like, let's get to know you, more of like, let's get to it. And people aren't gonna really like recognize you as an international student, they're just, depending on the course, it'll probably be different, but. It's very more like lecture and academic, but I also really enjoyed that class, just getting like South African professor perspective.
Did either of you take the photography class?
I
Yeah,
did,
you did photography.
it was good. Got some good pics and they had 2 field trips to Cape Town. So.
And if you don't have a real camera, you can rent one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other options for courses that you guys took? Or the group took?
I think we took a politics class. Then we took the class with our professor from CSPSU. And then
Politics and culture.
there was a pop culture class we didn't take, but that was also about like the music in South Africa and like different art. I know a lot of our other like peers really enjoyed that. And I'm really forgetting the other class.
Wait,
Oh, then GSL.
Yeah.
We took the 6
that's
credits.
4.
Yeah, so then global service learning was also like a big part of that too.
Yeah, so here is a link, like, a lot of the students took the digital photography class. Anything with an asterisk means it's with international students,
Mhm.
like they mentioned, so like the South African pop and identity, overview of South African history. There is for biology, that one is. So here's the politics and cultural change, a lot of them did take.
So
And
can I
there,
just interrupt? Joy?
yeah.
So when you say with international students, you're in with people from all over the world, but not other South African students probably, is that?
No,
yeah.
Yeah, so can you share like who were the international students in there?
Yeah, we had people from Austria, people from the Netherlands, France. People from Finland. So kind of other European places, but. Yeah, that was also really cool, because you just think you're studying abroad like in one country, but you're like meeting some of my close friends were still from like. All over Europe, so that was really awesome, so those classes were cool.
And your GSO, like, you're taking that with other international students, and that's really cool, cause you see them 4 times a week, that was like our friend group, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You just are like gonna get close, so that's
Mhm.
awesome. I'm wondering like, if there'll be 2 sections, cause you guys are already like a huge group.
Yeah.
Like our, like, this is as big as the class.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like.
Yeah, we'll see, yeah. And then the other group is, so there will be other AIFS students as well, so those would be the other US students that would be involved, and you guys had 2 others? Three other. So that would be the other mix that would make up the international students, so, yeah. Perfect, and so, yeah, there's sociology classes, if you scroll through, there are some general elective classes as well. I did already, what I do know is unfortunately, none of the theologies do work. So that will not be something that will work for this crew either. So here are those language classes that Afrikaans, or that's the clicking and are not working. And so there is some environmental studies types courses. New for this year, there's 2 different global business. We're seeing how they fit into the timetable because everyone does do the GASL, the Global Service Learning, you will come to shorthand it for. We just have to make sure that timetable works in order for these other classes. So there'll be more about classes, but you can nice peruse of what maybe works. And so when you meet with your advisor, maybe pulling up that list to have like, here are my top 4 I'm thinking, here's my backups. So that you have some flexibility once it comes to looking at classes.
I wouldn't like stress too much like now, I changed my schedule like 3 times because I was already there, and like you can see when the classes are, like.
You do
Yeah,
have an
like,
add drop
classes-
period too,
Yeah.
once you get on site. So I think that's very good advice. So here are some of those same examples of classes I just kind of showed you there. And then here are 2. Do you have anything else to add for the service learning?
Yeah, this is just better for, I guess, like a visual, these 2 pictures are from Manzame. So that was the black school that I primarily worked at, and this is the playground that we eventually fundraised money for. So that's really cool. I don't have pictures of the other schools, but they're just like a little bit nicer.
It's still not like.
But yeah, as you can see, like the school, like the chairs, they don't have enough chairs for the students at the school, so like. When the kids get in at the beginning, they're like fighting over chairs and they're like, don't have enough like resources for that, so it's like. A very eye-opening experience, but it's also very like meaningful and you'll be able to help out a lot in
So
that.
this was not the part that reminded me of Wayzata.
No, this was not the part that yeah, you can definitely see like South Africa is really crazy with just like. The economic disparity, you'll be driving and it'll be like really beautiful towns in Stellenbosch, and then you'll get outside to the townships of like literally just shacks and like. People that are like, don't have like clean clothes and everything, so it's definitely like. It'll be shocking, but it's like very good to kind of understand that.
Also, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but it is the most unequal country in the world, so it's like the richest and the poorest. You'll definitely see it in Stellenbosch, because it's the richest, like,
Yeah.
it's really sad. Anyway, that's good. Yeah.
But I think that's an important aspect.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
definitely a huge part of it, so.
Mhm. Housing. For you all.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. You have your own room and bathroom, well, I won't guarantee, but.
Yeah, they'll be in the same
Okay.
complex.
So Concordia is in a like fenced in area called Academia, it's the International House or apartment, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
So there's like a little courtyard, like we've met some friends up there from like the countries. Yeah, it's 4 people to a little flat, your room, bathroom, share a kitchen, no oven.
No.
That was a Jesus.
Yeah, oven is not a thing in much of the world, so, yeah.
Mhm.
But it is like the frozen pizza is like a room temperature
Right.
thing.
But it's super nice because like right outside Concordia, there's like this little convenience store called Tapas. And they literally have everything, like I would probably go there every day and get like a coffee or like candy, and they have like wraps, so you guys will, it's a very like nice resource to have.
But what do you think when you went to Tapas, like on
Yeah.
average, like a coffee was how much US dollar?
Like
You
2.
get like $2, you got like an iced latte or something. The prices there is absolutely insane, like it's definitely like half of what it would be here, so.
And like at the gym too, they, like a protein smoothie was like $2.
Yeah.
It's like so nice.
But don't let it trick you, because then I thought I was really rich and I definitely spent a lot of money there because I was like, I can get this all the time, but grocery shopping is good too, so. Budget that way. But yeah, this is the south side of Concordia. And then this is like kind of a layout of like a general common room. On the bottom picture, and then the laundry is really nice. They also have house like cleaning. So there's people that come in every week and like take out your garbage and like vacuum, so that's really.
And they're cleaning like every day.
Yeah.
They're working their butts off,
Right.
seriously.
For students, really?
Yeah, that's insane. I did not expect that at all, but.
I think Cecilia, she said she wasn't gonna go, right, Cecilia?
That was important, that was important. All right, around campus.
Yes.
So this is the Nielsen, so this is like the general like hub, there's like in kind of the center of the university. They have like a bunch of like restaurants, they have like, this, what is it called, Sweet Beat?
Sweet green.
Sweet
Oh,
Beat is like basically crisp and green they have on the top, and then they have coffee shops and like other food downstairs. They also have a movie theater in there that they like have like a schedule of like some types of movies there, and then
It's a pharmacy, there's like a place that you went to like get in phone.
yeah, they have like, it's honestly like a little mini mall, and then they have like a hair place there, if you guys wanna get a haircut there, so, yeah. There's so much in it, so that's like the center. And then there's also this like option to join ISOS, which is like another alternative. What would you call that, just,
It's like a club that you have to pay for.
right, you have to pay for it, and they like do events that you can go to, so I know that like, yeah, they go to a summer concert, beach day. All these things, I don't think anyone in our group joined it, just because some of the activities overlapped with like our own planned excursions. But it's like a good way to also meet people. They do have this like hiking peers group, they probably will still have it when you're there, but. I think that that'll just be sent out in like a general like academia group chat, you guys will probably join when you get there. And then we did a some types of that in that school, like they got like 40 people to like go hiking at this place. And then you pay like $5 and they give you transportation and some sandwiches. So that's like a fun activity. They also do like offer to get your like scuba diving license. I think that's like $100 or something, but I know some people that did that too, and then they eventually go to like the ocean, so.
They also did like a make your own wine day, so that was cool.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is our garden route excursions. It was super fun. Basically, it's like a 4-day,
5-day.
5-day, 4-night excursion. You're in the car kind of a lot, but then you get to like kind of cover a lot of South Africa in that time, so that was really cool.
So you basically go much of that
Yeah.
like coastline.
Right.
Along there.
So we're all the way to where like the previous abroad group was.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome, they have like add-on excursions, but it's still like decently affordable, like to go surfing, horseback riding, what else do we do?
Yeah, then so there's like the biggest part for a lot of us was the bungee jump, and that was like at the end of it, and it's like the tallest like bungee jump off a bridge in the world. So if you guys are adrenaline junkies, I definitely recommend it. It was like the scariest thing in my life. It's so fun. So that's a picture of me and Zoe from last year, like at the top. So that's like an extra like $80, I think, but I mean, doing that anywhere here would be like so many hundreds of dollars, so. If it's like, if the prices scare you, I feel like if you are able to do a lot of these things, it's super cool.
Yeah.
And then there's also like, we had like an elephant walk, which was like an extra like $30 or something, but you are like walking with elephants. And like get pictures with them, so that's really cool. And then in the excursion is like, and these could all like are subject to change maybe, but there's like a safari, which I'm assuming is
Yes.
what that's like a given. So that was really fun, we did that. It was
They
like
didn't go in those like
$12.
caves right there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and
They were
then.
like tight, like you were like squeezing through a cave, it was like kind of scary.
No, they had 2 options for that, if you guys were like claustrophobic, there's like the adventure group and then like the history group, so. If you wanna do. So we had some of us do the adventure tour, but yeah, that was really fun, so the garden route was definitely a highlight, and then there's also, I think at the top. Is a picture of Cedarburg, it's also an alternate like excursion in the trip where you can like go to this like these mountains, the Cedarburg Mountains, and do like a hiking trip and stay in these little cabins. For additional costs, me and Jordan actually didn't go on that one, but everyone who did had a great time, so.
The garden route is included.
Yeah, the garden route is.
Cedarburg's optional, I think that's
So
like,
anything what they're referring to is during the garden route, so that everything on the garden route is mostly included, but there's gonna be some of those add-ons, right?
Right.
Like the bungee
Right.
jump, you would pay the $80. If you wanna, you'll see elephants on the safari, but if you wanna do the elephant walk, then you'll pay the $30, so.
Yeah.
That, I mean, that part you'll find out like the extras once you get on site. But the bulk, lodging, meals, those kind of things are all included, so it's just some of those like extra add-ons during the garden route would not be included, where Cedarburg, the whole, it's 2 nights, 3 days, it's a lot of hiking, it's definitely out in the nature. but yeah, I think 5 of your group did, 4.
Yeah. Or yeah, for
Yeah.
our group and then.
And then,
Yeah.
Ellen did as well, the director last year.
Mhm.
And then that's another picture of Hestia right there again. She leads that one. Yeah. Did Hestia go on garden route too?
No.
I didn't think so.
I think sometimes she does though, like it was.
Yeah, she was a very busy.
Yeah.
Time of years.
Alright, so that's kind of the big overnight excursion options, but then you also have lots of day excursions.
So the first one was like Tail Mountain, it's like a classic you gotta do, that's that picture.
Yeah, it takes like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like basically a 2-hour stair step.
Yeah, you're basically doing stairs several times, so it's a very good team bonding moment. They also have like a gondola thing to get to the top, so we took that on the way down. So like for those who don't wanna go hiking, that's the option, but I definitely encourage you to do the hike, really. It's challenging but good. And then we also went to the Cape of Good Hope, which is the most southwestern point of the African continent. So that was super cool. And then that same day, we went to go see the penguins. So they have like wild penguins in Africa, and it's like, they're so cool. Like, you feel like it's a zoo, but it's literally they just swimming around all around. And
That's
that's actually,
like natural habitat, they weren't like placed.
yeah, yeah. And that's actually me, I like, there's like a different part of the beach, you can like climb boulders to like get to the penguins. So I did that on my own one day with my friend, but I definitely recommend trying to get close to them because they're so cool.
I don't know what else we did for day excursions.
You did, Robin
Robin
Island.
Island.
Oh, Robin Island, so
Mhm.
it's right next to Magnolia was impressive.
Mhm.
And we also
Take a
went
look.
to, you went to the Cape Town, you did, a museum there, district.
Yeah,
District
that was-
6 Museum,
Same thing.
yeah, and that was just about like the like work, the migrant workers during apartheid. So that was also really cool, and that tour was led by individual people that had like been through that experience, and so was Robin Island, so. That's really
Any
cool.
concerts? What, did you do any concerts?
I went to, yeah.
Oh, we did the Stellenbosch Choir is like a really big deal there, so we also like went to watch their choir concert, and like everyone bought, like that concert's so sold out because everyone so much like wants to go see them, so they were really amazing.
They're like world famous.
Yeah.
So if you like YouTube Stellenbosch Choir, you'll.
Zoe like cried, she's like, I've been watching that since Friday.
Yeah.
Funny, that's really cool. Oh, you should look up Kirsten Bosch Botanical Garden, it's in Cape Town, they have concerts there, it's so pretty.
Mhm.
I did not go there for a concert, but I've heard day trip, it's.
Mhm. Okay, so the preparing stuff, I definitely would get one of the adapters, do you remember which? Like version the adapters were?
They look like that.
That one? Yeah, just for like ordering them before though.
Yeah.
You just look up like
This,
South Africa
right,
outlet.
yeah, because some of us brought the wrong one, so then we had to like go try to find them. But those are very important, because some of the 3-prong ones like that go into the wall, and then they also have like the 2 like skinny prong ones that just plug into certain, like each outlet's kind of different there, so just having enough of those is really important, but you can get those at the mall, so I wouldn't like totally freak out, but.
Yeah, there are different outlets, like I had to buy like, don't buy or bring hair stuff like.
Yeah,
Curlers, straighteners, whatever, cause it'll burn them. If you just
Yeah,
buy
that's
there,
right.
it's like maybe $20 for a straightener and a blow dryer,
Mhm.
give you that, sorry, and then. Yeah, those ones were different outlets, so I bought like huge thing there, that had every outlet adapter.
And then this is the money, it's South African rands, so each like 100 rands is equal to like $5 US. So it's kind of easy to do the math, but you can also get like a conversion, like a money conversion app that will convert rands to dollars. And if you guys ever do like traveling outside of South Africa and go to different countries, that's helpful to just have that on handy, so I would download that. And then,
What other apps do you find helpful?
We did towards the end of our trip, Sydney's idea, try count, so like, if you plan like going to Cape Town, like do a lot of Uber rides, like it's nice, you can like. Say who bought this Uber and like split it up, and then whoever's negative can buy the next one, if that makes sense. You guys can all be in it, and then you could pick like who was included, and then we'll do the math for you.
seems like this,
Cause Venmo did not work there, right?
Venmo only works if you're doing an international plan. But if you're also, so like if we're going to the phone stuff, I got a SIM card there. And that, I think to get it was like $20, and then like you have to go into the mall every time to like reset it. So once you use all your data, it lasts like up to a month, but once you're out, like you have to go back to the store and then recharge that, so that's sometimes like $10 every time you do that. So it just depends, like I would definitely use Wi-Fi any chance you get to, you're just not wasting the data, but.
I did an international plan,
Yeah.
my phone was just like being weird when I got there, so, I don't know, I just wanted to have a phone.
I would, yeah,
I know it's gonna be expensive, but it doesn't matter, cause I got to like text and call off my phone number, so.
So I would just text or like chat with your family and then your service provider just to see your best options, but the SIM, like it seems super stressful. When I first got there, I was like, oh my gosh, like how do I get this work, but Matt, you'll probably bring them to the SIM card store, or Hestia will go with you guys to the mall, and that's like kind of the first priority, so I wouldn't like be too overwhelmed about that. And then.
What plan did you have, Jordan, or what
Oh.
international plan?
I have Verizon, I don't know, just their international,
Okay,
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it really is like international
Yeah.
plan, for like AT&T, it's called that, for Verizon, it's called that. T-Mobile is a little bit cheaper for their international plan. But yeah, I'd say the cheapest route is gonna be the SIM card route. And you still can have like a WhatsApp and that kind of thing, there still is ways to connect back to
Yeah.
them, so.
Yeah. I would
Why
like,
did Rachel have 2 phones?
you could also, I think there's a 2 phone type of thing, people can have that, she just used she bought a cheap phone there to get a SIM phone, I think that was just in case like. She lost that phone, so she would bring that one out, like if we went out at night or something, she would bring like. Her like other old phone, and then her like nice phone she would leave and then bring that, like if she wanted to take nicer pictures on things, so. Yeah, you could do that route, but it's a little confusing, I would just kind of do this.
Speaking of phones, I was always told to like not walk with it out, that like, there's a 10% chance that it'll get snatched, we didn't have any issues. But like, do be careful about keeping like phones in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Pickpocketing is like the biggest thing I feel for like
Mhm.
crime.
There is just like a lot of poverty there, so it's just good to be like safer than sorry, so if you guys have like fanny packs or anything. That's always really nice to just have everything like right there in front of you, and I just wouldn't go on your phone in the street, cause then you like look distracted for like safety measures, but otherwise, like we didn't have any safety problems, it's like. You feel very safe walking around, like, I know the gym is like a mile away. And this mall is a mile away, and like every time even like. Walking like by myself, I didn't feel like unsafe, just like when it started to get darker, I would definitely just take an Uber instead of walking. Because Ubers are cheap and just to be on the safer side.
So did you use cash most of the time, or does the Uber take?
Uber, you can connect your card to. So actually, I would download Uber before you go there, just because when you get there, if you download it there, it sometimes like. Will want you to verify your phone number, and then if you have a SIM card, you can't do that. So if you get all of that before, we have like sometimes trouble with that, and for like paying people back. I would also get PayPal and then set that up before you get there. Because Venmo, yeah, it doesn't work on everyone's phones. You could always get cash and like pay people back that way, it's just a little bit more complicated.
I didn't really use cash that much,
No.
but it was annoying to like, there were like international fees. I'd just see like 30-cent charges all the time, like every time I use my card, not every time, but
Mm,
that is a downfall.
And it's down for the card.
right,
Was Apple Pay a thing, did any?
Yeah, like everywhere is tough.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I thought I would need a lot more cash than I did, but honestly, some places don't even accept cash, so. You're good with cards. Trying to think.
Slang. Is it? How did you find the service on Google? No, how did you like the service, you know?
So they say things like, how'd you find it? And when we first got there, like we went to a church service and they were like, how'd you find the service? We're like, oh, we just looked it up online. And they gave us like the strangest look, so it's all like, how is it? But I think you guys will mostly figure that out as you go. But yeah, they say something to them, it's like, is it? But they don't like necessarily want a response. But I'd be like, yes, it is. But they're very like, South African culture is very like cheery and optimistic, like every single person you meet will probably be like very chatty with you and you'll just kind of figure out the lingo as you go, but it's definitely funny.
Lots of hugs too.
Yeah, they love hugs.
What about Monty's or Mike Nate?
Monty's,
Yeah,
that's the
Monty's.
mascot.
Monty's,
That's what
Yes.
students are referred to as.
yes, we're
All students at
Monty's.
Stellenbosch are.
Mhm,
You guys are Monty's.
yeah,
I don't really know what this is. Like a bear, right?
you'll see it at the rugby games, we couldn't figure out what it was. Yeah, the accent's really cute. In my South African class, I was like the only one I knew in there, so when people would start talking to me, I'd start like accidentally speaking in the accent, and then I was like, oh gosh, I guess. Sketchy. But yeah,
All right,
that was
now
just a lot, so.